A blessed woman is not afraid to step into her power. She knows who she is, what she stands for, and where she's going. She doesn't wait for permission to shine. She embraces her strength, intelligence, and purpose with confidence. She understands that the world may try to box her in, to define her by its own limitations, but she refuses to be contained. Owning your power is about recognizing that you are enough, just as you are. It's about silencing the inner doubts that tell you that you need to be more, do more, or prove yourself to others. A woman who truly owns her power knows that she does not have to seek validation from the world because she already carries a divine purpose within her. She walks into a room with her head held high, not because she seeks to be superior, but because she understands her worth. The journey to embracing your power isn't always easy. Society has often told women to be quiet, to be small, to be agreeable. But a woman blessed by God knows that her voice matters. She speaks up for herself and for those who cannot. She knows that her thoughts, her ideas, and her perspectives bring value to the world. She is not afraid to take up space, to express her truth, and to challenge the norms that limit her. She is courageous enough to be different, to be bold, and to break barriers that were never meant to hold her back. There will be moments when self-doubt creeps in, when the voice in your head tells you that you are not good enough, that you are not ready, that someone else could do it better. But a woman who owns her power does not let fear dictate her life. She understands that fear is just a test, a stepping stone to something greater. She moves forward despite the fear because she knows that she was created for more. She reminds herself that God did not bring her this far to leave her behind. A powerful woman does not apologize for her ambition. She dreams big, works hard, and refuses to let setbacks define her. She understands that success is not about luck, it's about perseverance, faith, and resilience. When she faces obstacles, she doesn't see them as roadblocks, but as lessons. She learns, she grows, and she keeps pushing forward. She refuses to settle for less than what she deserves because she knows that she is worthy of greatness. Owning your power is also about understanding the influence you have on others. A truly powerful woman does not seek to diminish others to elevate herself. Instead, she lifts those around her. She celebrates other women's successes rather than seeing them as competition. She understands that true power is not in tearing others down, but in building a community where everyone thrives. Kindness, grace, and strength go hand in hand. A woman who owns her power is not just strong, she is compassionate. She listens, she nurtures, and she leads with love. She knows that the greatest legacy she can leave is not in personal achievements alone, but in the lives she touches along the way. At the end of the day, a woman who truly owns her power does not wait for the world to tell her she is valuable. She already knows. She walks in faith, knowing that she is guided by something greater than herself. She trusts in God's timing, knowing that everything she has prayed for and worked for will manifest in its right time. She does not shrink herself to fit into someone else's idea of success. She creates her own path, writes her own story, and embraces every part of who she is. To every woman reading this, know that your power is already within you. You do not need permission to be great. Step into your strength, own your truth, and never be afraid to shine. You are blessed, you are powerful, and you are enough. Life is not a straight path. It is full of ups and downs, victories and defeats, joys and sorrows. A woman blessed by God understands that falling is a part of the journey, but staying down is never an option. She knows that every setback carries a lesson, every failure holds wisdom, and every challenge is an opportunity for growth. She does not let obstacles define her, she lets them refine her. Falling is not a sign of weakness, it is proof that you tried, that you took a risk, that you dared to step out of your comfort zone. And that in itself is powerful. A blessed woman knows that she is not meant to live in fear of failure. She embraces her mistakes, learns from them, and rises stronger than before. She understands that God has a greater plan for her, even when she cannot see it in the moment. Every closed door, every rejection, every disappointment is simply redirection towards something better. When life knocks her down, she does not give up. She takes a moment to breathe, to process, to heal, but she never lets failure have the final word. She reminds herself that resilience is built in the hardest moments. She does not allow setbacks to steal her faith or diminish her confidence. Instead, she gathers her strength, dusts herself off, and keeps moving forward. She believes that as long as she has breath in her lungs, she has purpose. Pain is a powerful teacher. A woman who rises after every fall does not run from hardship, she faces it head-on. She allows herself to feel, but she does not let her emotions control her destiny. She knows that difficult moments are not meant to break her, but to shape her into the woman she is meant to be. She finds the courage to stand up, to keep fighting, and to trust that better days are ahead. A woman blessed by God also understands that she does not have to rise alone. She surrounds herself with people who uplift her, who encourage her, who remind her of her strength when she forgets. She is not afraid to ask for help or lean on those who love her. She knows that true strength is not just about independence, it's about knowing when to reach out, when to listen, and when to accept support. But perhaps the most important thing about a woman who rises is that she does not let her past define her future. She does not dwell on what went wrong, on who hurt her, or on the mistakes she made. She forgives herself and others because she knows that holding on to pain only keeps her stuck. She refuses to let bitterness take root in her heart. Instead, she chooses growth, she chooses healing, she chooses to move forward. A blessed woman does not let failure shake her faith. She trusts that every struggle has a purpose, that every storm will pass, and that God's plan is always greater than her own. She understands that life is a series of seasons, and even the darkest night will eventually give way to the light of a new day. She does not let temporary setbacks make her forget the greatness within her. Her story is not one of defeat but of perseverance. She is a warrior, a survivor, a woman who refuses to be defined by her lowest moments. She keeps getting up, keeps pushing forward, keeps believing in herself and in the path that has been laid out for her. She does not wait for perfect circumstances to start again. She creates her own opportunities, rebuilds her dreams, and walks forward with faith and confidence. To every woman who has ever fallen, know that your story is not over. You are not defined by your failures, but by your ability to rise again. Stand tall, step forward, and remember you are stronger than you think, and you are already blessed. A woman blessed by God understands that success is not just about personal achievements, it is about the impact she has on others. She knows that true greatness is not measured by how high she climbs alone, but by how many people she lifts along the way. She does not see other women as competition, she sees them as sisters, as allies, as individuals with dreams just as valuable as her own. She believes in the power of community, in the strength of supporting others, and in the beauty of lifting someone up when they need it most. The world often teaches us that success is a race, that there is only room for a few at the top, and that helping others somehow takes away from our own progress. But a woman who is truly blessed knows that this is not true. She understands that there is more than enough success, joy, and opportunity for everyone. She does not hold back her knowledge, her wisdom, or her resources out of fear that someone else will surpass her. Instead, she shares, she teaches, and she encourages. She knows that when women support each other, powerful things happen. Lifting others is not always about grand gestures. Sometimes it is as simple as offering words of encouragement to a friend who is struggling, celebrating another woman's accomplishments instead of feeling threatened, or taking the time to mentor someone who is just starting out. A blessed woman understands that even small acts of kindness can make a huge difference in someone's life. She chooses to use her voice, her platform, and her influence to uplift rather than to tear down. This kind of woman also recognizes that lifting others does not mean neglecting herself. She knows the importance of self-care, of setting boundaries, and of making sure she is strong enough to help others. She does not give from an empty cup. She fills herself with faith, wisdom, and love so that she can pour into the lives of those around her. She understands that by taking care of her own well-being, she can be even more present and powerful in the lives of others. One of the most beautiful qualities of a woman who lifts others is that she is not afraid to share her struggles. She knows that vulnerability is not weakness but strength. She openly speaks about the challenges she has faced, the lessons she has learned, and the battles she has won. In doing so, she gives hope to others who may be walking the same path. She shows them that setbacks do not define them, that failure is not the end, and that if she could rise, so can they. A woman who lifts others also knows that true leadership is about service. Whether she is a mother, a teacher, a businesswoman, or a friend, she leads with humility and kindness. She does not seek recognition for her good deeds. She simply does them because it is the right thing to do. She understands that when she helps someone else rise, she creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond what she can see. But perhaps the most powerful thing about a woman who lifts others is that she leaves a legacy of empowerment. Long after she is gone, the people she has helped, the lives she has touched, and the hearts she has inspired will continue to carry her impact forward. She will be remembered not just for what she accomplished, but for how she made others feel, how she encouraged them to believe in themselves, and how she reminded them of their own power. To every woman who has ever felt alone, unsupported, or unseen, know that you are not in this journey by yourself. There are women who will walk with you, who will lift you, and who will remind you of your strength. And when you rise, do not forget to do the same for someone else. Because when one woman rises, we all rise. And that is what being truly blessed is all about. A woman blessed by God understands that faith is her greatest strength. She does not allow fear to control her decisions, nor does she let doubt dictate her path. Instead, she moves forward with confidence, trusting that God has a plan for her even when she cannot see the full picture. She knows that faith is not about having all the answers, but about believing that no matter what happens, she is guided, protected, and deeply loved. Fear is a natural human emotion, but a woman who walks in faith refuses to let it consume her. She knows that fear whispers lies. It tells her she is not good enough, not ready, not capable. But faith speaks truth. It reminds her that she is strong, that she is equipped, and that she has been chosen for a purpose greater than she can imagine. She chooses to believe in the promises of God rather than the doubts that try to shake her confidence. Walking in faith does not mean that she never faces challenges. In fact, she knows that trials will come, that there will be moments of uncertainty, and that life will sometimes push her to her limits. But instead of allowing fear to paralyze her, she uses these moments as opportunities to strengthen her faith. She reminds herself that every obstacle is temporary and that God never brings her to a challenge without also giving her the strength to overcome it. She does not waste time worrying about things beyond her control. Instead, she prays, she trusts, and she takes bold steps forward. A woman who walks in faith also understands that faith is not passive, it requires action. She does not sit back and wait for life to happen to her. She steps out in courage even when the path is unclear. She knows that God does not always reveal the entire journey at once, but He gives her enough light to take the next step. She walks forward, not because she has all the answers, but because she trusts the one who does. Fear often tries to disguise itself as logic, caution, or practicality. It tells her to play it safe, to avoid risks, to settle for less than what she truly wants. But a woman who walks in faith knows that growth comes from stepping outside of her comfort zone. She refuses to let fear stop her from pursuing her dreams, from speaking her truth, or from taking chances. She believes that if God has placed a desire in her heart, it is there for a reason. She does not wait for perfect conditions to begin. She starts where she is, with what she has, and trusts that everything she needs will come in time. She also understands that faith is not just about believing for herself, it is about inspiring others. When people see her confidence, her peace, and her unwavering trust in God, they too are encouraged to walk in faith. She leads by example, showing others that faith is not about the absence of fear, but about choosing courage despite it. She lifts those around her, reminding them that they too are capable of great things when they place their trust in something greater than themselves. Walking in faith means surrendering control and trusting that everything will work out for her highest good. It means knowing that delays are not denials, that setbacks are setups for comebacks, and that unanswered prayers often lead to greater blessings. She does not let fear of failure, rejection, or the unknown stop her from living fully. She embraces life with open arms, knowing that every experience, whether good or bad, is shaping her into the woman she is meant to be. To every woman struggling with fear, know that you are stronger than you think. You were not created to live in anxiety or self-doubt. You were created to walk boldly, to trust deeply, and to step into the fullness of your purpose. Choose faith over fear. Choose belief over doubt. Choose to walk forward with confidence, knowing that you are always being guided by a love greater than you can imagine. A woman blessed by God understands that she was created with a unique purpose. She does not try to fit into the mold that society has set for her, nor does she compare herself to others. Instead, she fully embraces who she is, her strengths, her flaws, her quirks, and everything that makes her different. She knows that her individuality is not a weakness, but a divine gift, and she refuses to let the world convince her otherwise. From a young age, many women are taught to conform, to look a certain way, to act a certain way, to follow a certain path. But a woman who embraces her uniqueness rejects these limiting expectations. She knows that she is not meant to be like anyone else. She is meant to be exactly who she is. She understands that true beauty lies in authenticity, not in imitation. She does not waste her energy trying to please everyone or seeking validation from others. Instead, she stands firmly in her truth, knowing that she was wonderfully and purposefully made. Embracing one's uniqueness requires confidence, but it also requires self-love. A woman who truly values herself does not see her differences as flaws, she sees them as her greatest strengths. She knows that her perspective, her experiences, and her voice are valuable. Whether she is quiet or outspoken, artistic or analytical, bold or reserved, she recognizes that she has something special to offer the world. She does not dim her light to make others comfortable. Instead, she shines as brightly as she was meant to. But embracing uniqueness is not always easy. There will be moments when doubt creeps in, when she wonders if she is enough, when she feels the pressure to change who she is to fit in. There will be times when the world tries to convince her that she must be someone else to be accepted. But a woman who knows her worth does not let these voices dictate her identity. She stands strong, knowing that she was created exactly as she was meant to be. She reminds herself that she does not need to change to be loved, she only needs to be herself. A woman who embraces her uniqueness also understands that comparison is the enemy of joy. She does not measure her success, beauty, or happiness against someone else's. She knows that everyone's journey is different and that she is on her own path. She celebrates her own achievements without feeling the need to compete. She understands that another woman's success does not take away from her own, and that there is room for everyone to thrive. She finds peace in knowing that she is exactly where she is supposed to be. This kind of woman also encourages others to embrace their uniqueness. She does not judge or criticize, she uplifts and empowers. She celebrates diversity, knowing that the world is richer because of its differences. She does not try to change people, she encourages them to be their true selves. She understands that when we embrace who we are, we inspire others to do the same. Most importantly, a woman who embraces her uniqueness walks in faith. She knows that she was created for a purpose and that her gifts, passions, and personality were designed by God. She does not doubt her worth because she knows she was made with intention. She trusts that her individuality is not a mistake but a beautiful part of a greater plan. To every woman struggling with self-doubt, know this: you are enough. You do not need to look like someone else, act like someone else, or live like someone else to be valuable. You are already valuable, just as you are. Embrace your uniqueness, stand in your truth, and never be afraid to be yourself. The world needs you, not a version of someone else, but the real, authentic, one-of-a-kind you. A woman blessed by God understands that true strength is found not in dominance, but in kindness. She does not allow her ego to dictate her actions or cloud her judgment. Instead, she chooses grace, humility, and compassion in every interaction. She knows that being kind does not mean being weak, it means having the wisdom and self-control to rise above pettiness, anger, and pride. She does not seek validation through arrogance or superiority. Instead, she finds fulfillment in lifting others and creating an atmosphere of love and understanding. The world often teaches us that to be successful, we must be ruthless. It encourages competition over collaboration, pride over humility, and self-interest over generosity. But a woman who chooses kindness over ego understands that real power does not come from belittling others, it comes from inspiring them. She does not need to prove her worth by tearing someone else down. She knows that her value is not diminished by showing kindness, even to those who may not deserve it. Kindness is a conscious choice. It is easy to react with anger when hurt, to let pride get in the way of an apology, or to hold grudges instead of forgiving. But a woman who walks in kindness understands that negativity only weighs her down. She does not allow resentment to take root in her heart. Instead, she chooses to let go, to heal, and to move forward with grace. She knows that forgiveness is not about excusing others, it is about freeing herself from the burden of bitterness. Choosing kindness does not mean allowing people to take advantage of her. A woman who values kindness also values herself. She sets boundaries, speaks her truth, and stands up for what is right, but she does so with respect and dignity. She does not let her ego push her into unnecessary conflicts or arguments. She understands that proving a point is not always more important than preserving peace. She chooses her battles wisely, knowing that not every disagreement requires a reaction. A woman who chooses kindness over ego understands that her words have power. She does not use them to gossip, insult, or humiliate. Instead, she speaks with wisdom and encouragement. She knows that what she says can either uplift or destroy, and she always strives to leave people better than she found them. Even in moments of disagreement, she communicates with respect, choosing understanding over hostility. One of the most admirable qualities of a kind woman is her ability to celebrate others. She does not let jealousy or insecurity stop her from supporting another woman's success. She claps for others, knowing that their victories do not take away from her own. She understands that there is enough room for everyone to shine. Rather than competing, she collaborates. Rather than envying, she admires. She chooses community over division, knowing that kindness creates a world where everyone can thrive. Choosing kindness is not always easy. There will be moments when ego tempts her to respond with arrogance, to seek revenge, or to prove her worth through pride. But a woman who is truly strong understands that kindness is the highest form of self-respect. It takes more courage to be gentle in a world that often rewards aggression. It takes more strength to remain kind in situations that test patience. And it takes more wisdom to walk away from negativity rather than engage in it. Above all, a woman who chooses kindness over ego knows that she is guided by something greater than herself. She understands that every act of kindness, no matter how small, has the power to create ripples of change. She does not seek recognition for her goodness, she simply chooses it because it is who she is. She trusts that by leading with kindness, she is fulfilling a purpose far greater than ego could ever provide. To every woman striving to be better, know that kindness is your greatest strength. It does not make you weak, it makes you powerful in ways that ego never could. Choose to be kind even when it is difficult. Choose grace even when pride tries to take over. And most importantly, choose to be the light that reminds others that kindness is the most beautiful legacy one can leave behind. A woman blessed by God understands that dreams are not just fleeting wishes, they are divine whispers of purpose planted in her heart. She knows that dreaming is not a luxury but a necessity. It is what keeps her spirit alive, what fuels her passion, and what gives her life meaning. She refuses to let fear, doubt, or societal expectations shrink the vision she has for herself. No matter her age, background, or circumstances, she never stops dreaming because she knows that God has placed those dreams within her for a reason. Life has a way of trying to steal our dreams. Challenges arise, failures happen, and sometimes the path to success feels impossible. A woman who never stops dreaming does not allow setbacks to define her. She understands that delays are not denials and that every failure is simply a lesson preparing her for something greater. She does not let rejection discourage her. Instead, she uses it as motivation to push forward. She believes that as long as she has breath in her body, there is still time to make her dreams a reality. A woman who refuses to give up on her dreams does not wait for the perfect moment to begin. She knows that the perfect moment will never come and that waiting for it only leads to wasted time. Instead, she starts where she is, with what she has, and trusts that the pieces will fall into place as she moves forward. She understands that progress, no matter how slow, is still progress. She does not let fear of failure keep her from taking the first step. She knows that the only real failure is never trying at all. Dreaming requires courage because it often means stepping outside of what is comfortable and familiar. A woman who never stops dreaming understands that growth comes from pushing past her limits. She does not let the opinions of others dictate her choices. She refuses to settle for a life that does not fulfill her just because it is easier or safer. She chases her dreams with boldness, even when people doubt her, even when the road is uncertain, and even when she is the only one who believes in herself. A dreamer is also a doer. A woman who never stops dreaming does not just imagine a better future, she takes action to create it. She sets goals, makes plans, and works tirelessly to turn her vision into reality. She understands that dreams without action are nothing more than fantasies. She embraces discipline, hard work, and perseverance because she knows that success is not handed out, it is earned. She is willing to make sacrifices, to invest in herself, and to put in the effort necessary to achieve what she desires. But more than anything, a woman who never stops dreaming is a woman of faith. She knows that her dreams are not hers alone, they are part of God's greater plan for her life. She trusts that even when things do not go as planned, she is still on the right path. She understands that sometimes doors will close, but only because better ones are meant to open. She does not allow disappointment to turn into despair. Instead, she chooses to believe that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Her dreams are not just for herself. A woman who never stops dreaming also inspires those around her. She shows others what is possible when they refuse to give up. She proves that dreams are worth fighting for, that obstacles can be overcome, and that passion and perseverance lead to greatness. She encourages others to dream just as fearlessly, reminding them that they too are capable of extraordinary things. To every woman holding on to a dream, do not let go. No matter how difficult the journey may seem, keep believing, keep striving, and keep moving forward. Dreams do not have expiration dates, and as long as you have faith, determination, and the courage to keep going, anything is possible. You were meant for more, you were meant to shine. And as long as you keep dreaming, the world will one day see just how powerful you truly are.